Okay, I want to look into, as usual, this dynamic, this idea of harmonizing or balancing yin and yang. It's very easy to go the wrong way. Remember, the yin is passive, and we just ultimately the ability to relax every part of the body, but maintaining good posture. So as if we relaxed every muscle in the body, we would fall to the ground. But within the fact that we want to have this frame, whereas using a minimum of effort. Now, within that, there are certain things, though, which, because we want them or we look for them, may be overdone. And this is what we want to look at. So with the spine, for example, we sort of want the spine long, the fingers long, the arms long. You know, we want to open up the body. We do this too much, and we introduce a stiffness, and it's not what we want. So they even use the expression, use the mind and not the muscle. Using the mind and not the muscle doesn't mean nothing happens, because we always use the mind. We reach for something, pick something up. We obviously have an intention. It becomes a reality. But we could say if we pick something up, we're going to use the absolute minimum amount of energy for that task. However, so a falling head or chin up, both issues, preventing the neck from being correct. Falling forward is, in a sense, better than falling back, but neither is good. This idea that the chin needs to be drawn back and in, and the line of, so the back of the neck is open, but the throat is relaxed. Of a long neck, but not pushing it up. Sometimes they say floating up. And so you need to acknowledge there's a difference. And the tailbone going down and slightly in to draw open the lower back, but without doing this. So here goes up. So you have like this goes up, this goes down. And the idea is to gradually feel that the back is more straight. We sit back. So, it's just to really, we could think we don't want our bodies to be hunched over. Same time, we don't want to have to do this. So there's a balance. I would say, because this is more common, and I sometimes see it in myself as I get older, having a thought that I've got a weight between the shoulder blades pulling me slightly back, just to keep this nice upright posture. And then it's about being mindful, feeling that your fingers opening, but not stiff. Still, everything's relaxed. But throughout the whole body, we could imagine that, like a human-shaped balloon, we've been blown up. We blow ourselves too much up, and we're floating, and maybe we're popped. We do too little, and we're sinking and collapsing. So it's up to us to find the middle. How do we know that we're achieving the right thing? I would say mostly because it feels better in the end. Your lungs feel open, your body feels balanced, and you feel a nice feeling inside. It's something we want to look for, really. It's a very lovely feeling inside. Always comfortable, if we can be comfortable. and trying to maintain that comfortable feeling whilst we're engaged in activity. Feet together. Also the breathing. Because I got hay fever, I find that breathing is also wonderful as it can be. But within the fact that I've got hay fever, I can still have the sense of welcoming in the elixir. Just have to be careful not to sneeze and breathe out calmly. But it's about being at ease. So in the mind, they say almost like a feeling, or it's said somewhere like you imagine yourself in a very comfortable place. I often use the idea of like a meadow, like how once maybe you were lying in an English meadow and the sun was out and fluffy clouds and the bees were buzzing. They just, you had this you were warm and comfortable, and you felt a little bit dozy almost. You just felt very content, or getting into a hot bath sort of feeling. Immerse yourself in as much as one can in the pleasure of being. Obviously, there can be problems in the body, not so easy to feel pleasure. You're distracted by some discomfort. As much as you can, imagine like almost a soft energy rather than a sort of broken material body, like a soft energy filling the body. When you're comfortable, they say, we tend towards invisibility. And when we stand on one leg, if we move about too much like this, we put extra strain on the joints. So we want to try and keep the body pretty much as it is as we lift. And then just relax your ankle. Reverse. Of course, when we're tired, maybe you've done a lot of walking or something, your legs are not maybe aching a little bit. It's difficult to feel very, very comfortable, but as much as one can. So the knees, you see many people get older and they develop knee problems. And it may be because there's excessive pressure or strain put on the knee because of everyday functioning. For example, when people sit down, they might do this each time they sit down, and the knees bend in a way which, especially if you do that with any weight on you. So we try and feel that the knees aren't really going for it. They will a little bit, but we just concentrate. They feel really comfortable as we go down. We concentrate on them feeling stable and comfortable. No strain. If you come back up, you feel there's no strain, and there's no increased strain as you go down. Also tucking the tail a little bit, and getting that round back. So again, we're doing something, but really we're also just totally relaxing. The arms are relaxed, but the fingers are long. And then how we do the exercise, constantly keeping an awareness in the knees to keep them very comfortable. But all the joints, the whole body, keeping the whole body relaxed. Avoiding strain. It's an approach to exercise which is unusual. I'm in the world of fitness and exercise, so in the West in particular, there's often a idea you put more effort into it, you get more out, sort of thing. No gain without pain, our sort of philosophy. Whereas we're looking for something completely different. In fact, we're saying if there's pain, that's stress, not good. Again, we want to avoid stressing the knee and the hips. We want to keep an eye on them, being comfortable as we lift the knee. So this is a common problem. Doing something like this. Try and keep the line normal and natural. It's almost an idea of almost being very straight, like a pole, you know, going down through your leg. So although it's obviously bent, and everything's got curves, you imagine a more straight kind of feeling. And we do this because it enables better balance. Okay, feet shoulder width. Again, pay special attention to the knees. Don't let them get uncomfortable. Because this really is what it's about, is observation. It's watching the body and trying to feel more where you stress or if you stress. So if I go too far down, the stress on my lower back. I don't want to do that. For example, when the knees go forwards, I feel stress in the back of the ankles and the knees. There's lots of places where I would feel it. Now you can ignore these stresses, maybe because, well, you're used to them or something, or you just see, well, this is exercise, so I should feel these things. And we don't want to feel these things. So when you go down, you shouldn't go further down than it's really comfortable. Okay, now avoiding stress, keep an eye on everything. And reverse direction. When you're moving up, look out. Stress, discomfort is telling us something. We don't want discomfort. We're looking for a life of ease. At the same time, you know, a life of ease, somebody, oh, I live a life of ease, it means they don't do anything. It's not what we're talking about. It's within work, there's rest. Within activity, there's rest. There's no stress. We're trying to avoid the stress. Feet together. Okay. Feel the body. And when you settle on the leg, trying to avoid too much movement. Concentrate your no stress in the hip. And reverse direction. Hip asleep. So I watch people in classes and often see this. When people go on one leg, they kind of do something like with the hip, like this. Try not to. Give a sense of straightness down the body. Reverse. Well done. So we're talking about comfort. Well, there is I remember reading Master, I didn't understand quite what was meant, but he talks about an indescribable pleasure. And being indescribable means it's personal, really. What do you mean by an indescribable pleasure? How do you explain, like if you felt like a really lovely feeling, difficult to express in words? But we know what it probably means. We've experienced times like in the meadow or wherever where we've experienced feedback from the body, which has been really lovely. So comfort's the first stage, or at least not creating discomfort. But beyond that, looking for a pleasurable experience. So when we move the hips, so there's a lot of feedback from this area, and you know, what I will say for myself is if I say to myself, I want to feel a really great feeling of pleasure in my body and in this movement, then it makes me do that movement in a certain way, which helps create that pleasure. So if I make it like an aim, that this is what I want to find, I want to feel this wonderful feeling. And I notice it comes from being more relaxed, being softer in the movement, being at a certain pace for me, a certain quality of continuous movement, and obviously a deep focus. And whatever it does, it makes me do it. And then I start to feel a really lovely feeling emanating from not just here, from the whole body. Because if you're like this everywhere, if you think I want to feel my shoulders and neck feel very comfortable, even like I say, pleasurable everywhere, then for me it works. I start to experience something a little bit different than if I just give the command to relax. You know, you can't get it unless you really relax more deeply maybe than you have. And you do the movement. So you know, there's a difference between people when they first come to Qigong or Tai Chi. Their movements are a bit harsh. And they see this movement and they think, oh, it's just going round and this must be good for the hips. And that is true. Yeah. You could find this exercise done in, you know, in a Keep Fit class. But it's not the external we're interested in, it's the internal feeling. So that you probably wouldn't get in the exercise doing it like this, so slow. And we do it slow as well because it allows us to feel the feedback. It doesn't just flash by. If there's a problem in somewhere along this turn, you would experience it if you're doing it slow. But if you're going quickly, it will just pass you by. You know, and as I say, it requires the whole body to have this feeling, not just the hips. So it's not really about feeling one part. I mean, the attention, maybe you could say there's a bit more attention on the movement around the hip, because that's where we're pivoting from. But actually, we're aware of everything, like not holding the head too still, so we can relax the neck, feeling this natural small opening of the shoulders and chest, and relaxing down the arms, river. So it's an attitude, really. And the deeper you allow yourself to relax and let go and feel, then the better it will feel. And because, well, as I say, for me, because this instruction I give myself makes me relax more, then obviously that's going to have a knock-on effect on how I feel it, you know, in the movement. I'm going to relax more. That's better for mobility, but also it affects my mind. The more I go into it in my body or try and find the body, the more pleasure, that pleasure feeling, the more it goes into the mind, you know. The more relaxed the mind, the more relaxed the body, the more relaxed the body, the more relaxed the mind, sort of feedback. Still nice deep breath, the elixir of life.
And to see what we might have done. Oh, I was going to ask you, Mark, I draw
Keep going.
comics that we haven't even opened. Do you want me to take that away with me, leave it here?
Okay, marvelous. So coming up to the upper body. So again, we could do different things, but I just want to do the simple first. So again, we're talking about the spine now, more of the spine, and wanting to relax it more deeply. So we have the four movements, center going off to the side or the other side. The center going forwards or down and up, rather, down and up. And this, you can feel this manipulating the spine. So we want to feel the whole spine, so we sit a bit to try and feel working these lower vertebrae, as well as the upper vertebrae, all three sections. We want to feel go down. And again, moving in such a way, listening to the body, that at no point, so here it's easy to go too much, or the knee, and we create some stress in the muscles. And we're looking to have none. Just a delightful, comfortable feeling. So we have the three movements, side, four movements, side, front, back. So we relax down, relaxing the spine, right to the coccyx, and then up to the top of the spine. So my pace is what I have determined is best for me. It gives me time to feel, allows my movements to be more continuous, too slow, sometimes difficult to let the movement be continuous. Continuity is important. It accords more with my breathing, so kind of I'm breathing out more as I find I'm naturally breathing with the movement. It's not so important. It gives me time to monitor any changes. What's going on in my legs? Am I tensing the legs? I must pay attention to my contact with the floor. Pay attention to my legs so that I keep the knees comfortable, my leg muscles comfortable, no strain. It's just like a continuous relaxing into the ground. I'm relaxing up and down the spine, no discomfort. So that's the rule, no discomfort. If possible, find pleasure. Like I say, just I actively seek it. I kind of get into a bath, or a hot bath if they're cold. That sort of release comes from relaxing. So again, I find it easy if I forget for tension to creep into the legs, that the legs doing too much. Maybe with me, maybe the lower legs. So I have to be conscious I don't do that. This is easy to think, oh, well, that's exercise, I should feel that. You'll feel changes. Okay, go around the other way. But not necessarily uncomfortable. Trying to smooth out the feeling throughout your whole body. And it's good. More than good. And I realize to say that to somebody who's, say, maybe suffering from arthritis, it sounds, if you have arthritis, you can't turn off inflammation like that. So, I'm talking, I have my own set of things that happen to me. And I know from experience, when you have those things happening, it's difficult to remain comfortable. But as much as we can. So it may mean if there's discomfort, you have to do a much smaller movement to avoid setting off any difficulties. What we do may change to accommodate the idea of being comfortable or trying to feel a pleasurable feeling. And some people have chronic pain. It's not that you You have to work within what's happened. But hopefully, if we can smooth it out a bit, it will help these issues. You know, relaxation. A lot of people now, like they smoke or they imbibe or whatever medical cannabis or what they call CBD products, which are designed. You know, they have pain and nothing can be done with the pain, and they take this marijuana, and it somehow frees them from the pain. Why? And I think probably the reason is mostly it allows the body to relax more deeply and the mind to relax more deeply. Yeah. So we don't have to smoke it, we can just create it. Okay. So this point between the eyebrows can go left and right. Just relaxing on there. But really, we don't want this movement here much. We want it more like this stays in the same place. It's more we lift the ear to just open up the back of the neck. And again, if you do it too much, if you stretch, you can feel it pulls. Now, some people may think, oh, well, that's good because it's gonna draw my neck out and open up the tissues. And it's not untrue. It's just the philosophy behind what we do is don't do that. Do it to the point where if it starts to feel uncomfortable, that's too far. And then by stretching out the sides of the neck, like or any part of the body, being very comfortable, eventually, as the muscles relax, they will naturally allow more movement. So if something says stiff and then you pull it, it's not a good idea. Yes, especially as if we're not as young as we were. We want to be careful not to introduce. You know, if we're tied up in the idea, oh well, we have to do that, we have to experience discomfort in exercise, then we're much more likely to overdo the thing. You know? Whereas we have, oh, I never want to feel any discomfort. You know, there is, I must say, a counter argument to that is that some people are so pain averse, they might refuse to do any exercise. So if you are receiving discomfort, the discomfort is telling you something and you don't want it, but it doesn't mean you stop doing. You're still looking to increase the range of the movement, but it's a different approach. And then drawing the chin in. So this time is so deliberate. It's not so much looking down, it's drawing the chin. Like the space between your chin and your neck, rest of your neck, your throat is closed. But you feel more, it's like lifting the this point at the back of the spine up. And then or think this point going up and down. Again, it's called yin tang, the center of the eyebrow. Relax the neck. So rather than forcing something, we want to do it, and gradually through relaxation, we can maybe extend how much we can move. So keeping the neck relatively still, and we have the possibility of ear going up, yin tang going up, other ear going up, yin tang going down. And we can draw a circle with the nose. And as it gets more comfortable, maybe you could do a bigger movement. You're looking for, but so when I do it, I remember, you know, from past experience sometimes, or when I was younger, there would be like a clicking or a weird thing going on, crunching, or be difficult to be smooth in the movement. But thankfully, as I've aged, it's got better. Reverse. So again, looking for something deeply comfortable, if not pleasurable. And left and right. So it's like, people take drink or whatever, wine, or take various things because it makes the feel better in some way. And we're trying to recreate our own kind of feeling from the mind, which is pleasurable and comfortable. So it's like we are our own medicinal factory. So that's important, it's important to look for. There's like a Qigong myth that the practitioner is so got into the wonderful feeling of it, this idea of the indescribable pleasure of moving, that they forget, and their emaciated bodies are found a couple of weeks later still practicing it. There's a Qigong myth. You want to be careful. So let's do this with the arms, just like diving down, like a little bit of separating waters, like this, separating waters. Come up behind, and then down, separating waters. So start really soft like this, and don't lift the hands too high. And just, although it's everywhere, we want to think obviously the arms mostly and the shoulders especially, that when we're keeping and again, you're looking for this feeling of no discomfort. Where would discomfort likely come in? Movement of the shoulder, probably. And if it feels good, you can lift the hands more. So this is the form. This is the shape, the form. We're not so interested in the form. The form's there because it allows us to experience stuff. So if the arms go more further back, you're more likely, if you go too far back, you feel stretching. Now you might say, well, that's a nice feeling, which is all right. Because, for example, sometimes more stretch is nice. It is a good feeling. For example, if you wake up in the morning and you stretch, this feeling of stretch is nice. Occasionally the body feels it wants to do it. So it doesn't mean it's uncomfortable to do this. As long as it feels like nice, you should be okay with it. And then we can just add the body. So the arms dropping, but the body as well. And again, now we want to and drawing that beautiful breath in. So again, I would end up with a pace, my pace. So it's really the focus. So watch my lower legs. I was doing a lot of walking yesterday, and I can feel my calf muscles are, well, when I woke up this morning, they were saying, not going to let you walk today. But they warmed up quite quickly. They feel better now, but I can still feel a twinge when I come up. But I can manage it, and then I can think, what am I doing? And I think, well, why not relax them more? And then I feel that discomfort goes away, and I just concentrate on the not feeling that, relaxing my body more. You may have somewhere else in your body. So try. So you might, like, if it's your shoulder, if you've got like someone had a shoulder problem, then you might want to do a smaller movement as well. But so the feedback of discomfort is a good thing because it tells us there's a problem, and we can then be more alert to it, and we can watch it and try to resolve it. And think, you know, it's not like a question you can answer philosophically, intellectually. You can't say, "Oh, I feel that pain, switch it off." It doesn't work like that. You observe it, and you just observe it, and you have the intention. You don't want to feel that discomfort, so you keep looking at it, and basically you're a part of you which is more unconscious, if you like, can fix it for you. You just have the intention, you want to feel comfortable, and then your body starts to respond. And as I said, over time, maybe then you do bigger movement because you don't feel that feedback's uncomfortable. So I can find I can do, to be honest, I feel a little bit of pulling on my bicep when I go back too far here. So I want to be careful of that. Softness is the key. Continuity, never stopping. Breathing in, breathing out. If you want to, you don't have to. You can do the breathing the opposite way, for example, or just breathe any old how, as long as you're soft breathing, refined breath. I was talking through it, so I'm breathing out all the time. And we're thinking, so in me, I feel here, I feel something here, and I'm a little bit kind of wondering what that's all about, and where does it come on? I can't, now I've thought about it so much, I can't recreate the problem. So it's not happening now. You know? But before I could feel it happening. Maybe I feel a light bit just came on there. So maybe I look at that and I think, where is it happening? About here. Then it, now it's kind of less or goes away. It won't always go away. So if you have a pain in your body somewhere, watch it, just watch in the area with a quiet mind. Try not to be disturbed, just watch it. There's a technique some Chinese medicine may suggest. We do our best. Then coming up this way. So here, right, and then and there's different ways we can do this as well. We could do it like this, if you want to do this method. But today we'll do this one. Relax. It's the opposite of the one we just did. Yeah, it's the other way around. Check comfortably. You just check in again. So I'm conscious. I thought it was here, but now it's gone to here a little bit. So like, you know, form might be I open my hands more here. Again, if I do too much, I feel stiffness. If you really open up, it's stiff. It's too much. Maybe when I was practicing when I was younger, my fingers would be more like curled up like this and not as straight. So we can go lifting Danjong and Yin Tang, and then dropping the two as we come down. And then we can sit into the posture, checking your knees are fine. Again, there could be bigger movements like this. Really, it's about finding your own way. You know, there's a lot of statements in the literature about this. In the classics, it says you can be told what to do, but you can only find it through self-study. So it's not anybody can teach you the exercise, but only you can find. The form has a purpose because it's allowing different parts of the body to be involved, Chinese medicine, different movements will have a different effect on different organs, for example. But you know, we have to do something. And we could decide there's so many exercises we could choose to do. It's not the forms, it's how we do them. But I put you through like the Fang Song Gong, I put you through these exercises which I've come to use as part of my daily routine, my routine of exercise. And there's not, you appreciate that's quite a lot of exercises I could choose from. But I'll do a range and exploring all the possible, well, not exploring all the possible, but it will be generally something which will go through all the joints, to make sure all my capacity for movement, everything that's using the whole body, watching my breath. It's also a time for meditation, because if you're really focused, we've got things going, just stop here. You want to feel the spine, shoulders coming up, opening, coming back, could be higher, could be further out, and then back down, back to this position, a wave of movement up, a wave of movement down. Again, I can feel some disturbance because if I'm not mindful, it comes back into my, I can feel it on my right hand side, lower leg, underneath my calf muscle. And now I'm conscious of it and I'm doing it in a way I'm not feeling that disturbance. I noticed it and now I do it in a way and I look to see if I can not have it. And I did, which is lovely. And I'll forget about it and it maybe comes back. Again, softness. Trying to pull your joints apart. You allow them to open because they become so relaxed. It's amazing how much the body is able to move when it is really relaxed. And I had an experience when I was training in China. I wasn't just doing Tai Chi, I was also training in tween arm massage. I think it was the second time, maybe the third time I was there. And I was invited, they asked me whether I wanted to see some big tween arm. Oh, that sounds interesting. And I said, yeah. And they took me to this, like a basement. And in those days, they weren't too big on hygiene, so they were a bit messy. There'd be like blood on the sheets. They smoke cigarettes while they're treating you and stuff like this. It's a bit weird. But anyway, they took me down to a basement, and a man, there was like 4 quite burly assistants, and it looked like they put him on a butcher's block. They looked like butchers, they're right in. It looked quite weird. And they brought this guy out, and they had to drag him in because they anesthetized him, and his whole body was anesthetized. And this is why, so his body was flopping. And they laid him flat down on the table. And 2 of these big burly guys came to the top of him and held his shoulder and his back down in front of him. The other 2 came to the back. He's lying on his front. And they pulled his legs over, so they sandwiched him backwards. And it was like, I thought, well, what are they doing? They're killing him. What's going on? This is crazy. And they did that to him, and then they took him out again. I thought they're going to throw him in a bin or something. And it was alarming. But apparently they were saying this was the treatment between that treatment for people who have problems with the spine, I forget what it's called now, and we do surgery on it. And they say they get as good as results as they would with Western surgery. They get, they do this. But what was remarkable was the fact that his body could even do this, and the reason he could do it was it was relaxed because it was so anesthetized. This is why he did it. The body could do that. So the more we can relax, then obviously the more mobility we're going to have. That's why I say it's not the external experience you're looking for. That's there because otherwise you can't test things. But it's trying to move in such a way that the body's softness doesn't create discomfort. And when it's relaxed, then naturally you have more mobility. Okay, so massage can be a very important part of that. Often I see when people start the massage, I can literally see that they tense the body. You've got to keep the body, work on your body. It's not just the massage, you're still in your body. You should be listening to the feedback of your body as you move your body to do the massage. And then, of course, you're touching yourself. And this can be, somebody touches you, it can be a displeasurable thing, or it can be a pleasurable thing. You want it to be a pleasurable thing, not a... yeah. So, wash your face. And you're, again, thinking shoulders. Don't tense or anything. Keep your whole body comfortable, but look for the pleasure of doing it. Feeling. Time to really relax. Relax deeply. Are your shoulders tense? Up and down both sides of the ear and the jaw. I find it feels very nice. You can think about the pressure and change it maybe to induce a more pleasurable feeling. This is why they have the myth of the person carrying on with it, because they love it so much. Down at the back, keep your shoulders soft and tense. Relax the neck. Just the right feeling for you. Obviously, we don't want to do nothing. It's not like you could say it would be very pleasurable to hardly touch oneself, and that's true, and that would be good for you. Or you could be very strong. Maybe someone likes that pleasure. So different for different people. But if we want to move the blood, we need to have some pressure. And from the back all the way down, fingertip. Okay, watch this arm, isn't tense, both arms. Keep the shoulder down, relax. Feeling good. Feel what you're touching, each pitch you're touching, you're feeling and checking. You're conscious, you're focused. You're not just doing it. Just doing it would be good for you too, but it's better if you focus. Don't forget your fingers. Fingers are very important. So these muscles, this area, either side of the spine and the buttocks, there's a lot of nerve endings. And this is where some of the major nerves come out of the spine and go down the legs, for example. And it's a very sensitive, it's like a nexus or plexus, whatever, of connections here. It's like a main area of nerves. And so you can create a lovely feeling here. And if you can create that lovely feeling, this is going to make that area relax more. You know, so if you can find it, it's a good thing to try and find. Keep your shoulders soft. Whatever pressure really gives you pleasure and makes the area relax. So next one, again, we must remember all the things that we learned. So for example, I often see people, now they do this massage, and the knees go forwards, the body goes right forwards, and they do this. You know? And this is like, it's not going to do you great harm, but we don't want to do that. So that's why I often say just go to the knees. So it's a question of just keeping your knee, watch your knees, and this area stays comfortable. You just watch that as you come up and down. Okay, watch me. So I want to go further and get to here. What I see commonly is people then do this. They then do this. And so the upper body is just. And again, this isn't, because this could be an exercise if you want to develop the muscles of your back. But that's not what we want to do. I mean, we do, but incidentally. So when I go down to here, I might go forwards, but I actually sit a bit more here, and I concentrate on my knees staying very comfortable. Okay, so just go as long as you can keep your knees comfortable. But if you look at my bottom, it's always going down. It's not like I go halfway and then I leave my bottom where it is. My bottom will always be going down. Marvelous, good, and all around. Find a really, I like quite a firm pressure, to be honest, but I don't want to be so firm it's tensing my body. So relax firmness. Let's relax. I like to do quite a big, so I'm getting the whole of the abdomen, size up, the size of my body, my ribs. And relax. Shake it. Okay, so we want to observe ourselves, not just when we're doing our daily routine. Hopefully you try and practice during the week. Be good if you did every day, but I can understand sometimes that might be difficult. But we can do a lot of informal practice, which is just raising the consciousness to say, well, I'm going to do this in my everyday activity, whether it's washing the dishes or gardening or driving or waiting in the queue in Tesco's, whatever it is. If you just go into your mind. So standing, if you're standing in a queue or waiting for something, you can stand like this or like that, whatever's comfortable for you. You could hook your thumbs in your pockets, whatever feels comfortable for you, or behind. But then you want to look through your body, think about what we do in Tai Chi, think about your posture, think about your breathing, and then try and go into this deep focus of the body, searching and trying to find the most comfortable place. And then maybe you could try this. Can you feel pleasure? Are you able to go deeper? And then it's a formal standing. You just stand like this as a meditation. But really, this can be done most places. This idea of not struggling, being the natural way, not forcing things, is very deep in Chinese culture. Not forcing. So not trying to overstretch, not trying to build up by pain or anything like that. In fact, there was a famous Taoist called Mencius. And I think it was Mencius. It doesn't sound Chinese. It sounds like Latin, but I think it's Mencius. And he was like mocking in one of his stories. He mocks people who he says huff and puff to keep well. You know, he says you don't need. You need to work on your the feeling. And when you feel this more delightful feeling, you're comfortable. They said this is a sign that the qi is flowing well. So Mencius would talk about his great qi. So it's a bit of a show off. His great qi being better than people's muscular sort of thing. So it's a feeling, and that feeling comes from an attitude and a willingness to engage with the body, focus on the body and the breath. Be with in the present in that sense. Yeah? Often the mind is engaged in the past or the future, thinking problems over, stuff like this. Qi can rise. We don't think about the body. So bringing more body consciousness, more awareness into the body is always a good thing. Finding that comfortable. I had a private client. She was suffering from backache, but I noticed she was very much like this here, and I was making her relax the lower back. She was finding a position strange. It's just a weird position. I said, well, you're just going to have to practice what you feel is weird. And she phoned me like a week later saying it's really working. So you have to be willing to change a little bit your position, as long as it conforms to what we're looking for. You know, because it might be more comfortable to do this, doesn't mean you should be like this. And also, this is actually, to me, it gives discomfort here. But you get used to your discomfort, so you don't see them. A lot of time. And then, when you're walking around, how you're walking, keep very comfortable. When you pick up things or deal with things, try and keep the body still and comfortable. Be at ease. Okay, let's do a close. So it's the same thing. It's not just doing this. You go up, breathing in, feel through your body, and then feel down through your body. So you just check each part going down as relaxed, all the way down to your feet. No stress going up, body relaxed. And then relaxing down the body part by part.